This video will demonstrate entering an order set. I am in our test system. I'm logged into the provider workload management. I'm going to click on the inpatient tab. I'm first launched into the workload results and tasks list. I'm going to click on the inpatient tab, and I'll just highlight a patient and assume that this is a new admission. I'm going to click on the orders tab. Now, order sets and tests are going to be a little bit different than live, but I will be able to at least show you all of the functionality and keystrokes. I'm first launched into the patient orders, and I can see that the patient does have a couple of orders, and I can see that I have a expand and collapse tab. Next, I have an all tab where I can look to see what all will have any labs, or excuse me, any orders that have been completed or DC'd more than 3 days ago. If they're on the current, they'll stay here up to 3 days. I'm going to click on the Order Sets tab, and I'm launched into a search bar, and there are headers. The headers may be a little different in live than in test, but here we have all sets, admissions, ICU tele, labs, medications. I'm going to go back to the All Sets tab and just do a search. I'm looking for a general admission, so I'm just going to type in general, and the admit general orders will populate. The little icon, the little blue icon, indicates the date and time that this order set was last reviewed and if there were any changes noted. The checkbox checks off the order set, and then when I click done, the system will populate that order set. I can see that there is no previous set, there's no next set, because I've only ordered one set. I could order 2 or 3 sets at one time. And I'm on one page of one. I have a scroll here that scrolls through the full page. I have an expand and a collapse tab so that I can expand all of the orders in this header, or collapse all of the orders in this header. And I can expand the details of the orders. The pencil is blue because I either have not checked it off yet or the information is already complete. When I do check off an order, it will launch into any detail of that order. So admitting diagnosis, I'm going to click on this and it will launch me into the problem list. I'll click on the problem list. This is our text or type to text lookup. It's called an IMO, or Intelligent Medical Objects. And as I type in a diagnosis, the system will start looking up that diagnosis. I have to give it a minute to populate, and then I'm going to just click on the diagnosis that I would like to keep, and then I'll type another. I can use abbreviations. Highlight, and then I can say OK, say I want those 2 diagnoses, and then it'll say the order is ready to file. I'll click OK. And so on and so forth. I would just check off activity order. This is going to launch me into a it says there's an inactive direction. This probably won't happen, or it might happen in live. That means that this direction right here of Q8H.NER is no longer an active direction. So I would click there and just replace it with what I would like it to be, like Q8H. And next is supplementary text. I'm going to edit the text because it is free text for the activity order. So and then I'll click OK to complete that order. I'm not sure why it's bringing up the detail twice. This probably won't happen in live. Diet orders. Our diet orders are each diet is a separate order. If the diet that I want doesn't appear in this list, I can click on the Add tab and it will give me a full list of our diets. I'll go ahead and choose a regular diet. It's prompting me, are there any fluid restrictions, diet addition, or texture requirements? I'm going to say yes and put in a fluid restriction. I'm not sure in live fluid restriction may be a separate order or it may be inside the text. I'm going to click done when I'm done of the diet. I see there is still a red pencil. I'm going to just click to see why. I'm not sure. Oh, it says that I must view the order detail. Again, I think this is just something that is in test and not in live. I apologize for that. IV access is red. I'm going to click to see why. It wants me to review the detail to be sure that I want the saline lock. I'm going to say OK to that. And then I have labs. I could just go ahead and order a lab. It wants a service date and time. I'm going to say tomorrow AM. OK. I don't have to answer collected by unless it required a nurse to collect it. I'm just going to skip that screen. BTE DVT risk assessment. This is what's called an F9 lookup. We have function keys. There's an F9 function key that will look up, or there's a binocular up here that will perform that lookup. So I'm going to go ahead and choose anything that is appropriate. Again, I'm going to do a lookup. And then I'm going to choose my this would give me lab results if there were any lab results available. Now it's asking if I want the first dose now. I can go ahead and say sure. And for time's sake, I won't go through all the orders, but it gives you an idea. Meds are listed. I can add a different med if I wanted to. I'd be launched into our medication screen. Notice that there is a separate medication and fluids tab. This is confusing sometimes. Providers will want like a normal saline, and if they're not in the fluids tab, they won't see the fluid. But once you launch into a fluid, you can see the fluid. And then I could add a medication. Oops. I clicked too far. I apologize. I'm going to go back and cancel this to explain that. As you type in the medication field, it again is a type to text. So if I've reached the last medication that has METF, it's going to go directly into that medication. Now it's saying that it's no, it's not saying it's a duplicate. It's saying there's a allergen group of milk. The patient is lactose intolerant. I'm going to just go ahead and override that and say conflict reviewed. Then I'm going to choose my dose. Now this is an order string down here. I always recommend that the provider pick an order string first, even if you wanted to change the direction to a different time or a different direction. because the order string does fill in background information. And see, as you click on the order string, those populate the fields. I'm going to just go ahead and say done to that. And it's asking, do I want a first dose now? So I have the opportunity to say yes. When I'm done, I can say done, and it'll launch back to my order set. Now I can add more if I want something else added. For instance, I can say add orders, and this is going to launch into our order screen. If I want to just write a note to the nurse, I can type in a note. Then I'm going to click done, and it's going to populate those orders into my review screen, and I can see that each order is entered with a new status. I have the ability now to change an order. I can click on the change button and change whatever I'd like to change about that order. Or I can remove an order completely. I can click undo and take the order out. I can change it or undo it, and it'll just take it out immediately. Now I'm going to submit and put in my password, and the orders are transmitted. I'm going to be prompted with a print orders on screen. I don't need to print my orders. It's just a prompt that will pop up, however, so I'm just going to hit enter and skip past it. Orders will print in the appropriate locations. This concludes this video.